Good morning, healers. Welcome back to another episode of Vulnerable F Friday here on Stand Yourself with me, Nicole Michelle. Could not be more vulnerable than we are today because I'm just out of sorts. I'm really out of sorts today. I'm really out of sorts. Like, I have some kind of cough happening. I'm having a lot of drainage. I broke my stand. As you can see, we're in a different setup. It's kind of drizzling. I'm on my way to work, and I'm actually going to be earlier than I need to be. Like, I'm already on my way, and then I'm like, I get the text like, hey, we'll be there at 8:30. And I'm on my way to be there at 8. So, it is what it is. You know, you just got to go with the flow. So yeah, I broke my stand. You may hear me spitting out the window. It is possible. I don't know. When I cough stuff up or I have a lot of mucus, like right now, I will spit it out because I grew up having bronchitis like every year as a child. And I think that's because I grew up in a house where there were smokers. And yeah, it was a kind of pain in the ass. Like, worst time of my life every time. And so, of course, as I've gotten older, I've gotten pretty good at handling upper respiratory infections, starting with, you know, trying to prevent them as much as possible, which is like not swallowing mucus and like letting it linger, and if I cough something up, spit it out. Like, putting it back in your body is not, it can't be healthy or good for you. Like, and then when you do get sick, you got to do this stuff to take care of yourself then too. See, I know it's not attractive, but I'm here to be real. Not cute, not pretty, not I'm wearing makeup today because I put it on last night because I had to take a picture, a profile picture for a job that I'm after. Well, I say a job that I'm getting on with an agency to go for a job that I'm interested in, and we'll see what happens. I have some feelings about it, like when I got the job I have now, like I had a feeling like that it would be the job that I got, and I kind of have that feeling now, but like it requires action, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm wearing makeup. I don't normally wear makeup. I used to wear makeup all the fucking time. But and I think I've talked about this too, like as part of my learning to love myself, I stopped wearing makeup because I stopped wearing makeup around the time when people were doing like a lot of contouring and really just changing their entire fucking face. Like, if they were to go missing and you were to use one of their like profile pictures, you would not be able to find them. Like, so I just did very minimal because most days I don't wear makeup, as you've seen. So just did some eyeliner, some mascara, and some brow, and that was pretty much it. And but yeah, I remember, like, I started kind of getting into the fad of like bronzers and, you know, the shimmer and the whatever the things they were doing, 2013 or whatever. And I just was like, man, like, first of all, this stuff is expensive as fuck, and I always felt like makeup was meant to accentuate your natural features, not give you a whole different face, you know what I mean? And I'm not gonna say that there aren't people out there who have either suffered some kind of tragedy that has left them like somewhat disfigured, where that helps them. Like, I'm not trying to poo-poo necessarily on makeup, but for me, I found myself spending a lot of money on stuff and using it as a way to like myself and sort of as like a mask, and I'm like, I'm not with it, you know what I mean? Like, I'm out here spending all this money to like myself more, or to make myself likable, or to make myself acceptable in whose eyes? Like, you know what I mean? And so I felt like at that point I felt called to challenge myself to learn to love myself naturally. Like, I quit coloring my hair. I quit doing a lot of things. And I do think it helped a lot. I think it was a good call. I sometimes still do wear makeup, but I typically, if I'm going to, it's what you see. It's very minimal. Rebel till the end, basically. So that's the explanation for that. And today, I was like, what the fuck am I going to talk about, right? What in the fuck am I going to talk about? And the whole point of Vulnerable AF Friday, is to be vulnerable. Which I think as a pretty open, authentic person, like, my vulnerability kind of comes out naturally. I don't think I really even have to think about it, really. But lately, especially, I have been having a lot of, like, push and pull of my emotional, I don't know if I would say emotional body, or just kind of like my overall emotions, right? Like, there's just been a lot going on behind the scenes, so to speak. And I don't really want to get into, like, all of the, it's more than one thing. It's not like just one thing. It's multiple people, multiple scenarios, multiple situations. And sometimes with me, when I kind of get in my feelings, and I get it, feelings, I believe firmly that feelings are meant to be sort of like a compass and not like transport, right? It's not how you get from A to B. It's navigating you from A to B. And so sometimes my emotions become very overwhelming, and I really got to sit with them. And I go back and forth about worrying about other people and how I'm being may affect them. And I'm not going to say that my way is the right way, of course. Like, I'm not out here trying to say, hey, you got to do what I do because I know the way. No, I don't. I don't know the fucking way. I'm trying to learn the way. And along the way, I'm trying to encourage other people to learn their way. And I'm just here sharing my experience. Like, I'm not trying to, again, like, I'll probably say this every time, I'm not the end-all be-all of information or knowledge, and I reserve the right to change my mind whenever I decide, whenever there comes a point where there's conflicting information that comes to my awareness that makes me reconsider something, or, I'd be like, oh, I got that wrong, you know what I mean? So, nevertheless, like, needless to say, I tend to pull back when I find myself in a situation like I'm in right now, where I'm like, how do I handle these things? How do I navigate, taking care of myself and prioritize. That's the thing too, right? Like, I touched on this in my Woo Woo Wednesday, I think, about people pleasing and all of that, and mindset, and so, of course, mindset is important too. Like, I have to go in this with the mindset of, like, what do you want the outcome to be of the situation? And then I have to say, okay, well, with that being the case, right, so we know the destination. I don't know the transportation, but I know that my compass is already, right, like, my emotional compass is, like, spinning, and it's just unreliable right now. Like, right, I feel like when we're in an emotional high, whether it's happy, sad, in between, you know what I mean, it's not reliable. And especially when I'm, like, angry, even though I'm not angry right now, but, like, I'm very empathetic, sometimes probably overly empathetic to other people, and because of that, I tend to put them ahead of myself. And in the past, when I've had anger issues, right, and I've made decisions out of anger, they've never panned out well. So I try to apply that with all of my feelings, right, even the good ones. When I'm, like, on a high, happy, I'm like, let me just kind of sit on it before I pull a trigger on anything, right? No matter what mood I'm in, like, and sometimes, you have to be willing to make that kind of knee-jerk, I don't even like to say that, because I don't like knee-jerk reactions. I think knee-jerk reactions are problematic, and how I feel about it. Okay, I think they're problematic, and I think you're always going to do better if you take a little time, at least sleep on something for a night, and go from there. Right? I will always argue that is the best bet. And it's like, well, how do I show up for all these people while I kind of feel like I'm losing touch with myself a little bit? Like a lot of my goals and desires that have been in the works, I feel have taken sort of a back seat. And so now that I'm in this place where I feel like I'm being pulled multiple directions emotionally, energetically, I'm like, well, how can I deal with this, And earlier, I don't want to say earlier in my healing process, but like, I guess we'll just say earlier in my like awakening, right? Because I feel like I've always been trying to heal. I just didn't know how, or what to do, or I didn't have the trust to go to somebody that might be able to help me, and people didn't take me to people that might be able to help me, But I think I always was fighting for that freedom, and I think today I still fight for that freedom. And what that freedom is being able to just show up as I am, not have to put on a play, not have to put on an act, not pretend to be something that I'm not. You know what I mean? Say no when I mean it, say yes when I mean it, and not mince my words, like that's the freedom. And to live my life and to not be bothered, and to chase the things that make me happy, and dabble in the things that excite me, and so on. So right now, especially, I kind of, like I said, I feel like I'm being pulled all kinds of ways. I feel like I'm being confronted with some really big choices in my life about like my relationships with people. And so early in my awakening, I would find myself like, I would kind of, and this is where we're going to dip our toes a little bit into the woo-woo, and talk about sort of some of the intuitive messages that I sometimes will get when I'm navigating this thing called life, right? And there was this one time, I don't know, maybe a few years after I'd started having like my like full, like my really true awakening. Not like I'm not here woke and rah go team, and I support this agenda, and I'm this ally, and I'm blah blah blah, like beyond that, right? When I was really being like, this is all bullshit. We're all fighting each other over the same shit. We all really want the same thing. Why are we enemies? You know what I mean? Like, that's when you really become awake. When you start to see people as people. When you start to humanize the people that you don't agree with. That's when you really become awake, right? But I remember there would be a time where there was like all this like noise, right? Like static. And when I say that, I mean like all the bullshit that they try to inundate you with on the news. God dang, there was some crazy shit happening out here. There's somebody went, like I could see the tire marks on the road. But yeah, like when they're trying to like just bombard you with bullshit news and make you, give you the illusion of being informed, and it's us versus them, like a lot of that rhetoric about everything, like they find anything they can find to make an us versus them, they will. So that's when I say like noise and static, like that's what I'm talking about, like people's anger, people's they're disconnected from themselves, right? And that's also what the awakening is reconnecting with yourself. But I remember there was a time where I just kept getting this message. It was like, go dark, shine bright. Go dark, shine bright. And I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean, right? Like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, go dark, shine bright, And I sat with it, and I'm like, I think this means, like, I need to, like, go offline, right? Like, I need to distance myself. I need to pull back. I need to really center on myself. And I need to stop putting my light out there for a minute. I need to start putting my shine out there for a little bit so that I can go in and I can kind of do whatever I need to do to come back and shine brighter. You know what I mean? Because after a while, when you're out there, like in the trenches of life, and you're out there and you're trying to do your healing journey, and you're out there and you're being influenced, right, by other bullshit that you don't really have any control over. And that's what they want. They want you fighting about shit you don't have control over anyway. Why? For what? Right? So like I was getting that like go dark, shine bright. So I'm like, all right, so we'll see where this goes, And it was really a good thing that I did for myself. And I'm kind of having like, maybe that's what needs to happen now. Maybe Nicole needs to start pulling back a little bit. Like, Nicole has her own things to juggle, and as much as I love people and I want to be there for people and I want to support people, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you have to pull back and focus on you. And sometimes focusing on yourself is the best way you can be of service to other people, because I really feel like my I don't want to say goal, my only goal really is to dang, I don't know if I've ever really put it into words simply, but my goal really is to live my life in a way that I feel is meant to be, right? Like, the life that I envision for myself, that's my goal. Obtaining the life that I envision for myself, you know what I mean? And which I've already kind of earlier, a few minutes ago, I kind of touched on that a little bit, you know, like getting free, right? That's the freedom, right? The freedom. And right now, while I'm talking, because we're being vulnerable, and it's Vulnerable Friday, and I'm talking about intuition, and I'm talking about when I get little kind of boop, boop, like little intuitive insights, intuitive hits, whatever you want to call it. Like, while I'm saying freedom, like, here I am, a white woman, right? And I'm like, I want that freedom, right? Freedom from what? Freedom of what? You know, like, and my brain is like, I don't know if it's my brain or my higher self or whatever the fuck energy out there is being like, because we've all been oppressed. And that's the thing, right? That's the thing. We're sitting here being divided by every little fucking thing, like we haven't all been fucking oppressed. So when do we have that realization of, I'm oppressed, right? Like, literally, not like, you won't accept my delusion, so I'm oppressed. That's not oppression, okay? Oppression is when you're just trying to live your life as a normal person and you can't do anything. You're told what to eat, what to wear, how to dress, how to do whatever. You're never given the opportunity to be yourself at all. Not even like a modicum of being yourself. That's fucking oppression. Being forced to do things you don't want to do, that's fucking oppression, okay? Having your feelings hurt because I don't want to accept that you want to be a cat and you want to go piss in a litter box, that is not fucking oppression, okay? That is delusion. I'm sorry, but it is. And any other thing that goes with that, trying to be something you're not, I'm sorry. I'm not here to, and I don't even want to get into those things. Like, I don't want to even get into those things because it's part of the fucking division. I'm not going to hate you because you have a mental issue, okay? Like, that's the thing. Like, I'm not, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the person that falls into the divide of separateness and the agendas that try to keep us from one another and make us each other's enemy. I don't want to be a part of that. And I don't want to feed that beast, and I just don't want to. You know, I don't want to. And so even all that kind of noise, you know, like, when I find myself like feeling like I'm at odds, when I find myself feeling like kind of internally restless and like there's a ball of snakes inside me and they're just like writhing around and squeezing each other and rolling around, and I'm like, maybe it's just time for me to step back a little bit and focus on myself, you know. And I do think that's an important self-care tip. Sometimes it is good to just disconnect. Don't go online, don't go on Facebook, just take a break. And when you take that break and you're not influenced, you know, you get to have the realness come forward, you know, your real thoughts, your real feelings, you know, not your thoughts and feelings being manipulated by some greater agenda or narrative, you know, but really truly being able to say, this is really how I feel, you know. And so I think that's kind of where I'm at. I'm still going to do YouTube. I'm still going to show up and do the woo-woo and the vulnerable for now. In a couple of weeks, I hope to be getting more into the carnivore diet. I wanted to wait until I got my vacation out of the way, which is why there was no Vulnerable AF Friday last week. I did contemplate doing one on my drive down on Thursday and then posting it Friday, but that just felt kind of inauthentic. And then I also felt like, do I really need to always show up for other people? Even though I do think that me doing these videos is also showing up for myself. And so yeah, so I'm still going to be doing the YouTube, but I think in other areas where I've really been trying to be a support role for other people, to try to help other people, I think I just need to kind of pull back on that, and I need to focus on me. Like I said, there's things in my life that have been put, in the back seat, back burner, whatever you want to call it, as I'm trying to help and support others and give up myself to help and support others. And some people I will continue to support because I can't not, you know what I mean? Like my household, right? I'm not going to stop being support there, but like I do have to start prioritizing my own wellness, my own needs, my own desires, my own journey, my own agenda, my own narrative, you know what I mean? Which is me becoming the best healer I can be, and finding alternative methods where I can take my natural gifts and utilize them to support myself in this money-hungry world of greed, so that's kind of where I'm at with that. Part of that step is, contemplating other, like kind of job opportunities, which is I'm kind of keeping on the hush-hush because, I doubt my current bosses, I doubt they currently watch me. Most people don't even know that I exist here, which is fine by me, until people do know that I exist here. But, when you get out of, again, mindset, right? When you get out of the victim mindset, you're able to say, even with like the emotional journey, right? Like, okay, well, this is where I'm at. My compass is going crazy. This is where I want to get. How do I get there? This is the outcome I desire. How do I get that? And so now that I'm out of the victim role because I've done some healing, excuse me, I can say, okay, and now that I've done the work and the healing and practice, using my intuition more, I'm also more able to know when it feels like it's time to move on, know when it's time to accept another opportunity. Again, like this other, and it may not pan out, right? But I have that feeling that I got when I got this job. I have that feeling I got when I got that last job, that just knowing that was the next step, knowing that was what was going to unfold for me, even before it happened, just feeling like it's already happened. You know what I mean? And typically, and this is what I was talking about in the mindset too, is part of manifesting. The Woo Woo Wednesday I talked about like mindset, the last one. And I talked about how, a lot of times you have to believe that something has happened in order to help it manifest, to manifest a little quicker. You kind of have to live in the imaginary. And it's funny because I'm like, I don't want to pretend, but like some things I don't want to pretend about who I am, but I'm happy to pretend about I have something to get something, right? But I digress. So yeah, even though, and when I was talking about the mindset, I'm like, well, sometimes you have to kind of be like, yeah, I already have it. Sometimes I just have that feeling without having to try. And that's when I really know, like, I'm probably onto something. You know what I mean? That feeling of I already got it, even though I haven't fully submitted my information to the agency. I already got it, even though, like my friend sent me the job that I have now, the job listing, and I read it, and I'm like, that's for me. Like, that's mine, And it's been great. It has been great. It's just the drive is too much. It's become too much, and this other opportunity that I'm chasing will give me similar or better pay for fewer hours, where I can spend more time devoting to my own studying that I'm trying to do for other things. Like I said, the study to become an even better healer, a greater healer, where I can set my own hours and I can do all that kind of stuff, like that's the freedom that I chase. That's the freedom, is to be like, I don't want to work today, or I do want to work today, or but really the trick, right, is to find that thing that you love where it doesn't feel like work. And fortunately for me, I love to help people. Fortunately for me, I love to listen to people. Fortunately for me, I love to try to give advice. Like, you know what I mean? So, but that's kind of where things are. This is just me. I don't know if this has been the most vulnerable of Fridays, but I do think it's, I'm just being honest about where I'm at, sharing some of my own personal challenges and accepting where I am and accepting that I need to really focus more on myself, and that as much as I want to support other people and be there for other people, that sometimes when your emotional compass is out of whack, sometimes it's you that needs the support, and sometimes you are your best support, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having to step back and realign and focus and find out where your energy really needs to be spent. Like, I think that's actually very wise. And so that is my plan. And I hope that you have found this to be helpful and something worth considering. And I think with that, I'm going to wrap it up so that I can focus on this traffic in this drizzly morning. And remember, if you can't stand nobody fuck else today, please stand yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Be loving with yourself. Advocate for yourself. Step back when you need to step back. You don't always got to show up for other people. You can show up for yourself too. And if that means that you can't show up for other people because you're busy showing up for yourself, it is what it is. So, take care.